So I wanted to start us out by looking at the Yoga Sutras. And this particular sutra I've been thinking about a lot today. These sutras are just short sayings. They're about 2,000, maybe over 2,000 years old, but they come from the yoga tradition. Because, you know, yoga is not just about what we do with our physical body, it's also how we use our mind. And in fact, Hatha yoga, as we practice it now, developed much later. Only within the last 400 or 500 years do we have these physical postures that that we know today in the West, at least, as yoga. But the way to use the mind is really the heart of yoga. And so Hatha yoga, the physical practice of yoga, was developed in order to help us to settle our mind and to use our mind towards liberation. And so these sutras are all geared towards liberating one's mind. And just I want to share with you this first one, or one of these here. Very short sentence. It says, "To one established in non-stealing, all wealth comes." To one established in non-stealing, all wealth comes. Just a powerful one sentence statement. And I don't know about you, when I think of the word steal or the verb to steal, it often comes with the ideas of stealing money. And probably none of us here would think of ourselves as thieves. Because we think of stealing in terms of taking material goods. But I want to invite you to consider stealing in a different light. I mean, it certainly includes that taking material goods that don't belong to you. But we can also steal in other ways too. We can steal people's energy. We can steal people's time. We can also steal our own time. We think that we are deficient in some way, and that's a form of thievery. We're taking from our own innate wisdom, our own innate enlightenment, our own innate compassion. It's always there, and when we think we're deficient in some way, we're stealing from ourself, from our higher self. So I want to invite you to think about stealing in that way. And then look at this statement again. To one established in non-stealing, all wealth comes. To one established in non-stealing, all wealth comes. Wealth, again, doesn't mean necessarily just material goods, but the wealth of the present moment, of what's all around us. Whether it's a rainy day or a sunny day isn't relevant, but can we see the gift of this moment? The preciousness. In the Zen tradition, we talk about this precious jewel. This precious jewel is this moment right now. And if we can't see the value of the present moment, then we've, in a sense, we've stolen from it. Because once you take something doesn't belong to you, the value is non-existent anymore. It's no longer valuable. On a spiritual level, it's no longer valuable. So if we take from the wealth of this present moment, it loses its value. So how do we reverse that? How do we reverse that? To one established in non-stealing, all wealth comes. It means we got to let go of wanting this moment to be different. Wanting this moment to be like it was in the past. That's a form of thievery. To want this moment to be different than it is right now. That's kind of taking from the beauty of this moment, the value of this moment. It's taking away the value of this moment. What are the ways that this moment is valuable? This is something we really got to think about right now, because it seems like we're losing an awful lot. And it's true, we are. But in what ways is this moment valuable? So let's not take for granted this moment. We may not see the full value of this moment. That's okay. That's okay. But to develop trust that this moment right now that we find ourselves in has value. Really important. So on that note, let's come to a good posture, sitting upright. Find your breath. Lengthen your spine. Soften your shoulders. Lower your eyes a little bit. As soon as we start looking for something better, something more, we're taking away from the value of this moment. What if we were to let go of the looking? All right, so you're welcome to take a little bit bigger breath in, breathing out a little longer. Now let's get more involved in our physical body. So just rocking a little bit forward and backward. Feeling your body. What a gift to have a body that's healthy. Right there. Yoga is in some ways a way of honoring and honoring the present moment. When we practice yoga, we're honoring the present moment through our body. It's really the joy of movement. Okay, let's stretch our legs out. Maybe circle our feet around a few times, just to prepare our legs for standing up. I want to remind you that at any point in this class, if you need to take a rest, to lie down, please feel free to do so. You're fully responsible for how this class goes. So if you're feeling pain in your body that doesn't feel right and you keep pushing through it, that's your responsibility. I recommend backing off when you feel pain that doesn't feel right. And so you're the judge of that. You decide how much you want to do here, and you're fully responsible for your yoga practice. Now, I'm just a guide here, kind of giving encouragement, suggesting different moves, but ultimately it's your choice how much you decide to do. So I really encourage you to find your inner guide as well. Okay, let's make our way in our own time, coming to the top of the mat, standing up. And we'll start out with some salutes to the sun. So one of the things to keep in mind is sun salutation is something that has been done for centuries. And it's a physical movement, but it's also to help us connect with the light of the sun. Think about this. The sun burns up everything, all kinds of things. Nothing can survive going into the sun. The heat is so intense. Any kind of coronavirus would never survive getting even close to the sun. Now, the thing to keep in mind is that sun is also right here. It's right in our own hearts. And we want to make that sun inside of us as bright as we can. We want to open up to it. That's the sun salutation is for, is to open ourselves up to the reality of our connection between the external world and what's inside of us. Those two worlds are deeply intertwined. So let's start out coming to the front of our mat, finding our feet, placing our palms together in front of our heart, lengthening our spine upwards. Just pause here for a moment. Feel the bottoms of your feet. All right, then taking your arms forward, locking your thumbs, reaching up and back a little bit. And then folding forward from the hips, lowering the hands down towards the feet, tucking the chin, maybe shaking the head out a little bit. And then let's step the left foot back as far back as it'll go. You can lower your knee down or keep it raised. I like to rock here a little bit just to open up Open up the hips. And then stepping our right foot back to meet the left, walking our feet in place. You know, you can lift your heels up and down. And when you're ready, go ahead and lower your knees down. And elbows, bending your elbows, kind of bringing them close to your sides and coming all the way down to your abdomen. Lifting up your head. Just without moving, without pressing into your hands. See if you can lift up your head. So very light pressing into your hands, just lifting up your head a little bit. And then as you push up and back, you're just kind of bringing your tailbone back, curling your toes under your feet, and releasing your knees from the ground. Back to downward dog. Breathe here a couple of breaths. Breathe. And when you're ready, looking forward, stepping or sliding your left foot forward to the front of the mat. You can keep your knee on the ground or lower it. Your right knee can stay up or down. I'm just kind of rocking I'm rocking here as well. I'm rocking on the ball of my right foot, a little bit forward and backward. All right, then let's step our right foot forward. You can slide it, hop it, or step it forward. And then here, just kind of maybe straightening your legs, if that's okay for your back, to straighten your legs. You can try it. See how it feels, or maybe you want to keep your legs bent. Shaking out your head a little bit. Maybe shaking yes with your head, nodding yes, no. All right, then we'll reach our arms out to the side, come back up, arms up overhead, locking your thumbs, lengthening upwards, maybe a little back bend here. And then bringing our palms together in front of our heart. See how your body feels. This sun salutation is a tonic for our body. All right, let's reach the arms up again. And look up towards your hands. And then release the arms back down towards the feet. This time stepping your right foot back. Lifting your chin up. And then stepping your left foot back. Keep in mind, where there's pain, if there's pain in the body, we don't want to try to push through it or aggravate it. Okay, coming this upside down V shape, make sure your hands are pressed into the mat. And then lower down your knees. Curl your toes, we just kind of slide onto our abdomen. Bring our elbows close to your body. Lift up your head, neck, shoulders, light pressing into your hands. And then bending your knees, engaging your core as you bring your tailbone back, throw your toes under, and then lift your knees off the ground. You don't have to straighten your knees here, you can keep them bent. And then with your head, looking towards your knees with your head. Okay, and then let's step the right foot forward, lowering the left knee down maybe, if you want to. And then the left foot forward. Arms out to the side, reaching up, overhead, lock the thumbs, little back bend, palms together in front of the heart. And one more, breathing in, arms up overhead. Breathing out, fold forward. Stepping the left foot back. Bend the right. Lower down the knees. Come onto your abdomen. Lift the head up. Come back to downward dog. Bend your knees in that process. You could straighten your knees if you want to. It's up to you. And then the left foot forward. Followed by the right. Arms coming up, out over the sides, lengthening upwards. Palms together in front of the heart. See how that feels now, just coming into mountain pose. So mountain pose with our feet firm on the ground. Checking out the flow of our breathing. Practicing smiling. Thich Nhat Hanh calls it the yoga of the mouth. Smiling. Even if we don't feel like it, smile and happiness can come. Our body doesn't register the difference there physically. Maybe taking in a little bit more breath. Softening the muscles around your neck, shoulders, back, face. All right, let's try Trikanasana, the triangle pose. Step the left foot forward, right foot back. Put some space out already. You make like a triangle with your legs. And then with our arms, you're just going to reach them out over our legs. Maybe a little micro bend in your front knee, your left. In my case, it's my left knee. Putting a little micro bend there. So my body's like a big, T. And then we're taking our trunk and folding from this part of the trunk. That's where we're folding. Reaching with your trunk stays long. So we're not bending the middle of our back, keeping our trunk long. We're bending from the hip. Keeping your trunk long as you go down. And then, at some point, just kind of take hold of your calf or your knee or your ankle, maybe if your hand slides down that far. Engage your core here, and you might feel a little stretch on your left side. Breathe. Another option here is to reach your arm over your head. You might feel a nice stretch there all the way down the side. So reaching your arm over your head like that. Just hold 3, 2, 1, and then coming back up. Standing. And then turn our right foot, turn our right foot in, left foot out. Now we're just do the same thing on the other side. So just kind of this movement here from the core. So it's moving from the core and from the hip, reaching forward, and then tilting the arms. One left arm comes down, right arm comes up. Feel that stretch nice stretch in the back. And maybe reaching your right arm over your head. You can try that if you want to. Or maybe just keep it up towards the ceiling. You got a choice here. Breathe. And 3, 2, 1. All right, let's come back up to standing. Reaching those arms out. And then we can turn our palms down, lower our arms down, bring our feet back together, and see how we're feeling here. Find your breath. All right, so this next one, we're going to activate our legs a little bit more and open up our ribs. This is called warrior. You can place your right foot forward, left foot back, bending your right knee. And it could be a little bend. This knee could have a little bend in it, or maybe you want to have a bigger bend. See what you'd like to do here. All right, we're turning our shoulders to be in line with our hips, and then reaching our arms right out over our legs, looking over our right arm. And breathe. So opening, it's like somebody is on either side of your hands, pulling your arms apart. So I want to check that. Make sure your back arm is the same height as your front arm. It's equally being pulled apart, opening up your ribs, opening up your sternum. Breathe. Big, strong, full breaths in. And holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Straighten out that front leg, lower the hands down. Turn the right foot in, left foot out. Same thing on this side. Okay, bending that left knee. Reaching the arms out over your legs. Want our shoulders right over our hips. So we're not leaning this way, we're leaning that way, we're leaning right, we're just right on center. So check that, that you're not leaning forward. That puts a lot of weight on your left thigh. All right, so maybe you might need to lean, it might feel like leaning back, but just check it out and see. And 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's lower the arms down. Bring the feet back together. See how your body's feeling. Just softening your shoulders and your neck, your face. All right. Next one is chair pose. So for chair, we're going to start out, you can bring your hands to your legs, maybe to your knees, just sliding down. It's as though you're getting ready to sit down on a chair. You decide how much to bend your knees. And we're keeping our back long, So instead of rounding your back like this, we keep it long. So there's lots of space here in your low back. You're really sticking out your tailbone. Now from here, you can try reaching your arms up. Sitting down, reaching your arms up. This takes some strength in your legs and in your back to keep your arms up. So we'll stay here for another 10 seconds. Breathe. And 3, 2, 1. Let's come back up to standing. Rest. So this resting in between poses is also yoga. We're giving ourselves an opportunity to absorb the benefits of what we just did. So take advantage. This is not wasted time. It's also another opportunity to become more aware of your body. Okay, let's try one more standing pose. This one is a balancing pose. It's called airplane. So for airplane, just step 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, and we come on to the tips of our back toes. Arms come out like airplane wings. You can stay here, or if you want, lift up your back leg and tilt your head forward. You decide how far forward to come. You could be parallel to the floor, or maybe not. Maybe your head's up higher. Main thing is we're just using this pose as an opportunity to practice balancing. Also engages the muscles in our back, especially our low back, keeping the back leg up. Adjust your head. If there's cramping in your neck, then you might want to tuck your chin a little bit. 3, 2, 1, and come back to standing with control. Rest. All right, let's try the same thing with the opposite leg. Bringing the tips of your toes to the mat, arms out, lifting your back leg, tipping your head forward. And 3, 2, 1. Let's come back up to standing and rest. Okay, from here, let's make our way down onto the floor. You could come onto your knees and just walk your hands forward, coming onto your side, and then lowering down onto your back. And believe it or not, this is also a yoga pose. And so what makes it yoga is bringing presence into the posture. What do you notice here while you're on your back? You might feel the sensations in the part of your body that are making contact with the floor. You might feel some internal shifts going from standing up to laying down. You might just notice a shift, an internal shift. Sometimes we like to place a label on that internal shift, like pleasure, feels good, or it's resting. Those are just descriptions, but what is it really? We're just simply laying here, and what do we notice? What do we notice before we start thinking too much about it? All right, let's roll over onto our side and then recenter on our mat. So we're going onto our abdomen, arms alongside our body, head turned to one side. If that doesn't work for your neck, you can just rest your chin or forehead on your hands. If you have glasses on, you may want to take them off. All right, and then from here we'll practice doing Cobra. So for Cobra, we bring our hands underneath our shoulders, palms flat, elbows close to our body, feet pressed together, legs zipped up. And let's start out with our forehead on the mat. So that makes a little bit of length in the back of our neck. We want to press the crown of our head forward here as we lift our head up. So we're engaging our back muscles, our low back, our middle back, pressing really lightly into our hands, barely using our hands to lift us up. Just like a snake doesn't have arms to help it up, it's just using its spine. So we want to really feel our spine here. Now, if you want to, you could turn your chin up, but see how that feels on your neck. My neck's been kind of cramped lately, so I've been keeping it long, but you could lift your chin up if that works for you. Like I said, just pressing very lightly into your hands, mainly using your back. And breathing into your sternum here. Let your ribs expand as you breathe in. All right, and 3, 2, 1. Release the arms back to the sides, turn your head, and rest. So this is an opportunity to just let everything go. All your worries, all your anxieties, just let your whole body rest. Okay, the next one we do is kind of strengthening our low back. Really important one if you have any low back issues. So for this one, we just bring our chin to the mat, arms alongside our body, and lifting up one leg. So lifting up one leg. You can let your toes drop down so your ankle's your foot's at a right angle to your leg. I'm just lifting my left leg up and releasing any tension in my right leg. You can also lift your head off the ground if that's easier on your neck. You can lift your head up. Arms could also come up here if you want. That's your choice. But the main thing is focusing on your low back and lifting up that left leg. Now let's lower the left leg down and lift the right leg up. So releasing tension in your left leg. Just let your left leg soften as your right leg is lifted. Kind of putting your foot at a right angle to your leg. 3, 2, 1, and then lowering back down. Let's turn our head to the side just to give our neck a little stretch. All right, then this one more back strengthening pose. So this time we bring both legs up together simultaneously. So starting out with our chin on the mat, lifting up our legs, both legs together. You can lift up your head too, lift up your arms. For locust, maybe pointing your toes here this time, pointing your toes instead of having them at an angle. Breathing, balancing on your abdomen for 3, 2, 1, and release. And rest. All right, so let's stretch the back now a little bit. So just kind of bending our knees, engaging our core, and sitting back onto our heels. Sliding our hands up towards the top of the mat, but do that at your own pace. You really want to give lots of space and time for our low back to readjust. We've been squeezing the muscles in the low back, and now we want to let them gradually lengthen. So not to hurry up into child's pose, but take your time there. I'm just kind of rocking a little bit back and forth on my elbows, rocking a little bit, just to kind of bring my the muscles in my low back into place before I then slide my hands up the mat. You know, and how far you go is going to depend on how this feels in your back. You can keep your toes on the mat, or you can curl them under your feet. And that when you curl your toes under your feet, you get a little bit extra lift in your low back. And that, for me and for other people, sometimes helps them to really slide your hands higher up the mat. All right, let's come onto all fours and then make your way to a seat. So have a seat here. Sitting upright. All right, so we're going to do some forward folds now. We've been doing back bends, now we're going to do some forward bends. So bringing your left foot forward, right foot on the inside of your left thigh. So you can straighten up your back a little bit. Straighten your back up. Reaching your arms up overhead, locking your thumbs. And I'm doing an internal rotation of my extended leg. Internally rotating it so my toes are pointing up. And then hinging from my hips as I lower down my whole torso, my whole trunk. Once your back begins to bend, then lower your hands down. You can lower them to your calf, your ankle, or maybe to your toes. The main thing is that wherever your hands are, it's important to allow your elbows to bend so that your arms are resting and your shoulders are resting. That part of your back is resting rather than tensing up. So we want our whole back to soften here. And where you might feel some tension is in the back of your leg. Maybe in your upper back as well, but allow your arms to really soften here. Tuck your chin in. If you tuck your chin in, that can also, you might feel some stretching in your upper back. Okay, and then when you're ready to begin to lift back up, and just lifting your trunk back up. See how this feels on your back? Just do it, if you need to do it slower, that's okay. Use your hands at the base of your spine to support your back. Let's switch our legs around. Okay, when you're ready, do the other side. Arms up overhead. Internal rotation of your other leg, and then folding. As soon as your back begins to start rounding, then let the arms come down. Let the elbows bend. Tuck the chin. Really taking care, noticing how this affects the back side of your body. You can always come out of it. You can also bend your knee here. You don't have to have your legs straight. As somebody with low back issues, this has been a really helpful stretch, but it can also do harm to your low back if you overstretch here. You can overstretch the muscles in your low back. So we're not trying to stretch our low back as much as we're trying to engage and lengthen the muscles in our hamstrings, in the back of our extended leg. All right, when you're ready, come back to seated. Let's check out the results of having done that. We'll do a simple twist. So taking one hand and bringing it to the opposite knee. The other hand comes behind your back. A little twist here to the spine. And so you can focus on lengthening your back up. Maybe looking behind you. See what the muscles in your neck allow. You know, there's going to be a place here as you're turning where your whole body just stops. It's not going to be able to go any further. So we want to respect that. We don't have to try to push and make it into something more than it is. Just twisting our spine a little bit. Breathing, lengthening up. I'm going to go in the opposite way. Opposite hand to opposite knee. Lengthening your spine upwards, that's primary. And then twisting. So make sure to lengthen up before you try to twist more. Before you try twisting deeper, you can lengthen up higher. Coming back to center. Take a moment to pause here. And we'll go into Yoga Mudra. This is the yogic seal. It helps to seal in on an energetic level. It helps to seal in all the benefits of what we've been doing so far. So let's take our hands behind our back. Take hold of your right wrist with your left hand. And then round our back and draw our forehead towards the ground. If your forehead touches the ground, go ahead and let it touch go all the way down there. Let's see what your legs allow here. And then slowly, making this the slowest movement of the class, beginning to lift your head, beginning to lift your trunk. Releasing your arms. Okay, let's try Yoga Nidra now. So this is deep relaxation. Go ahead and feel free to lay down on your back side. Find some comfort there on your back. And if you'd like, you could stay resting here, or you might choose to squeeze all the muscles of your body. If you want to squeeze everything, just start out with your legs, squeezing your legs really tight, making fists with your hands, squeezing your arms really tight, your face, and lifting up your head, arms, and legs together tight, and release. Let your whole body rest. Find a comfortable position to lie in, and then see if you can practice not moving. The stiller you are, the deeper the rest goes. This is an opportunity to heal your body and your mind. Softening the muscles in your legs, softening the muscles in your arms, softening the muscles in your core and in your face. Okay, let's begin to wiggle our fingers and toes, roll our legs and arms a little bit. And then make our way to our left side. And you can stay here longer or make your way up to a seated posture. You may wish to sit on a cushion or a block or something to lift your sit bones up. Find a comfortable position for your legs to be in. What you do with your legs is secondary to what to do with your back. You want to have that tripod of knees on the ground if possible. 2 knees and then our sit bones down. Back long. Little tuck of the chin. Hands can take a cosmic mudra if you'd like. Your right hand's the base, left hand over top. Thumb tips just barely touching. Let's come back to that sutra that we read at the beginning. To one established in non-stealing, all wealth comes. Can you see yourself as wealthy in this moment? Filthy rich in all senses of that term, to be rich. What does it mean to be wealthy and rich? Okay, closing dedication. May all beings be safe. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. Especially our hearts and minds go out to all those that are suffering with the coronavirus, all those who are taking care of them, and just for all of us in general, that we can feel our interconnectedness now on the planet more clearly than ever before. May all beings be well, may all beings be safe, and may all beings be happy.